What's up, YouTube? Alright, in the next few videos, or from the videos going forward, I'm going to be cleaning the engine bay, doing stuff like that. But I end up having a plan, and I decide, oh, I want to do this day, and then in the middle I decide to change it. So, I mean, just hang with there, I'll get it done, and yeah, here you go. Alright, well, now it's time to try to clean up the bay. And this, I guess this number of wire loom goes all the way down, and it goes into what was the starter. I think it had the alternator on here and the transmission harness. We don't need this, and I think we'll have a new power. We're gonna use a new power, so we're gonna get this whole loom off. We got a 12 millimeter nut right here, and this is what sends power to the whole fuse box. We'll still need a connection here to power the fuse box, because it has like horn relay and stuff like that in here, but we don't actually need this one. Let's clear some of this off. All right, I'll be right back. All right, after undoing the little clamp I had here and one over here, and there was a ground connected here, there are, I guess this red is the power to the fuse box. So I'm just gonna undo this, take this off, and then take off the zip tie. Just gotta remember, yeah, this red one goes to the battery. So I just unplugged them from this connector just to get it out of the car. Actually, I think I want to try to keep this connector, so I'm gonna try to bend it off and then slide it off. That'd be easier the next time. I could just I just slide it on, and then, you know, I'll have power to what I need to have power to. Alright, I just bent these connectors back just a little bit, and it slid right off. I'm going to go plug this back into the other two so I don't lose it and I remember. Alright, next thing I'm going to tackle is we have the slave cylinder and all the additional tubing for the clutch hard lines and stuff like that. I'm going to work on getting that out underneath. So from underneath, so you get a little better idea, talking about these hard lines here, we're not going to need anymore. And then this slave cylinder, this whole thing, all that can go out. All right, I took 3 bolts, 2 8 millimeter, 1 10 millimeter to get the slave cylinder, all that extra tubing off. Now I'm working on getting the hard line off of the clutch. So I gotta come over here and get this off, and once this gets off, you should be able to pull the entire hard line, slave, and all that stuff off. All right, I'm gonna use the, and doesn't want to focus, the 10 millimeter side. I would strongly recommend purchasing one of these wrenches for the hard lines, for any clutch or brake hard lines, even doing the calipers, stuff like that. It will really save you, and you're not going to be stripping the bolts, and it allows you to get in and sink it down because it has this cut in it. So nice. All right, well, let's get the clutch master hard line off. All right, I was able to get the whole clutch hard line with, I guess, the extra clutch feel tubing and the slave cylinder. Got all this out without kinking it or anything like that. So if someone ends up having an auto and they want a manual with you know, more of a stock look, you got the hard lines and the transmission mounts, or the transmission wiring, and positive alternator and stuff like that. Got all that out without breaking any connectors, things like that. It's coming along. Still got a bunch more to do. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this radiator, or with the AC hosing, and probably I got to take off. Let's take off this power steering reservoir. That should be easy enough, and then maybe head over here and tackle the fuel filter. I'm not sure. I may want to leave that on until I'm ready to switch the other one. It's kind of, with the extra lines, it helps protect it when I purple power it and then put the hose to it. So, well, let's see. All right, that was a little bit of work. I pushed the car over and pushed it in some grass. Just gonna wash it out here, just to let it go. I didn't want to get it I don't mind all the gunk going on the grass. I need to clean up where the power steering, the remainder of the power steering went. But yeah, let's wash this off. All right, so I'm working on cleaning up the inside the engine bay, and most of it came up, you know, most of the around this area on the rails, they came pretty clean. The cross member still is pretty gunked up. I'm gonna have to work on that some more. And I don't know what happened over here. I don't know if it was brake fluid or something, or brake cleaner or something got on it, or you can see that the paint is all off that. So I'm gonna have to sand that down and put some flat black in there, because I don't want that rusting up. But the rest is looking pretty good. As soon as I get the cross member cleaned up a little bit, I'm going to take off this excess over here, this excess power steering stuff, because from what I heard, you don't need the actual sensor, power steering sensor. So let the motorcycle go by. All right, to get the rest of the power steering, we need a 10 here, 2 10s there, a 10 on this one, and unplug the connector. And once you got all those off, then you could get that last 10 and it should pull right out. One thing I did forget is I needed to do the hard line. I believe that's the return. Is it a return? I forget. But I had to do the hard line. I was able to get that out with a 14 millimeter. I screwed that out, and then, you know, everything just pulled right on out. And this is what it looks like. All the power steering, extra hose. Not going to use from the Sicky kit. They have their power steering lines, and it goes directly from here to the reservoir. And I bought the Sicky power steering lines just so I didn't have to worry about getting any made, and it plugs right in and then goes, you know, right up over here to the power steering pump. Well, it's getting cleaner. Still need to get some more. You can see the subframe is under, you know, inches of grut and grime and all this other crap. The power steering rack is cleaned up a bit. It could use a little more cleaning. So I'm gonna put some Purple Power on here and go eat some breakfast, and then I'll be back. All right, I'm still gonna let some Purple Power sit on there for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest of the AC out. I'm not sure when I'm gonna be able to end up hooking up the AC anyways. So I'm gonna take a couple crescent wrenches and disconnect them from there. All right, so I got the first one off. The second one, as you can see, it routes around, down, comes up in a canister, but it is held on by a bolt next to the battery tray, and that is on here. So as long as we can get that off, and that should be good. And then the last two is you have the 10 bolt in there and the 10 bolt over there holding that in. All right, so I have over on the left the clutch hard lines that I definitely don't need anymore. I have the power steering lines that I definitely don't need anymore. And I have the AC that I will need, but got all this over here and then got to figure out a place to put it. With all that stuff out, the car is starting to look like it's getting ready to be able to be hammered out and then put in. I still need to do some cleaning down here. I do have the sticky front sway bar that I'm going to be putting in. I went ahead and ordered the steering rack bushings and the Injuku stainless lines. I'm gonna put those in, and yeah, I got to sand this down and end up painting. Just gonna paint some flat black, and it's still a little bit dirty. Even though I washed it off, it's still a bit dirty. So get that done, and oh yeah, I do have to still so I have to take off the dash and get up in there and push all these wires out. That will be a little bit of work, and I need to get under the steering wheel up there and get off the clutch master cylinder as well. I think I'm gonna keep the stock overflow. I'm gonna see if I can keep the keep the battery tray and keep everything else fairly stock looking. I don't think I'm going to mess with the fuse box or anything like that. Just run some power right in there, and I think you have to run power down to the starter, and then I think the starter and alternator are connected together. Other than that, I haven't messed with the fuel thing. I do have the feed and return, and then one more I got to figure out. So all right, let's keep on cleaning. All right, I have wiped down nearly every surface I got down here. Like I said, I'm gonna have to spray that. I wiped this down. I went ahead and sprayed it with some more degreaser for the last wash before I let it dry. And then you can go ahead and roll it back into the garage and get it ready for changing the bushings and those lines for when they come in.